What's up, guys? And we're gonna go through a barbell back squat tutorial. I'm using the barbell because honestly, everyone should get good at doing a barbell. Yes, there are 1,000 other ways to do squats, but nothing is going to build strength quite like a barbell because you're able to load the weight so much heavier than you were dumbbells or kettlebells or anything else, okay? And you're so much stronger than you think you are. So whenever you come up to the squat rack, you're gonna wanna make sure that the lower safeties are on. These can move up and down, just depending on where your range of motion is. And then these need to be in place so that way you should be able just to walk up to the bar, take it off the rack, and walk back with it. That doesn't seem that important, but it is very, very important, especially as you start to load the weight heavier. The last thing you wanna do is get to the end of your set, you're already exhausted, and you're trying to get on your tippy toes to thrust the bar back on the rack. Been there, done that, okay? So don't do it. So anyways, once you have that set up, now you're ready to go and execute. And what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna put the bar kind of on our back right here, like on our shoulder blades, basically on those muscles back there. You don't wanna put it so high up that it's on your neck, and you don't wanna put it too far down either, okay? I'm gonna talk about leg placement before I get that bar on my back. So feet hip width apart. Now, you could do like a wider stance, like a sumo squat like this, or you could do a more narrow stance. Neither one of them are wrong, but I think everyone should just get really, really good at mastering just the basic feet hip width apart squat. And the more that you train one way over the other, like I used to train a wide stance, sumo all the time. That narrow stance felt so weird, but it's because I wasn't doing it. Now that I do narrow stance most of the time, I prefer it. So it's good to do both. But you're gonna walk up to the bar, place it on that and your little shoulder blades back there. Okay, so let's get under there. Boom, boom, pull the bar back. So now you're gonna wanna do the exercise in the safeties, of course, because the safeties are there so that way, in case, let's say you can't get up from your squat, you can just fall to the floor and the bar is gonna stay there and it's not gonna crush you. Okay, so feet, like I said, about hip width apart. Now you're gonna wanna dig into your heels. Okay, make sure your heels stay on the floor the entire time, but also you should be aware, you shouldn't have tight shoes. First of all, your shoes should be flat, but also should have kind of like a wider toe box because you want your toe, your big toe and your baby toe to have kind of like a good place on the floor. You kind of almost want to put your feet in like a tripod. So big toe, baby toe, heel. And that's where your strong stance is. And you're actually pushing yourself up from your heels. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do always is brace the belly, right? So if anybody came to punch me in the tummy, we're locked and loaded. Now, shoulder blades down and back, and then from here, you're gonna go ahead and sit back like you're sitting into a chair. So you push your butt back and knees come down, okay? So, now once you get to about parallel, you can push yourself back up through the heels, right? So do a couple more rounds, and a little stay. So down, push yourself back up. Push yourself back up. Now let's talk about depth, okay? Because some people think they gotta be like way down here or it's not a squat. And you really don't. Obviously, we're not trying to do like quarter squats over here because that doesn't count either. But as long as you get to about parallel, that's really all that matters. And then push yourself up. You can get slightly below parallel, that's cool. You know, that's great. But anything over that is just, there's no point. You don't need to do that, okay? To build strength, to be strong, general health and fitness. We don't need to go there, okay? So a couple more things I want to talk about is I like to call it folding up like a lawn chair. So what you want to try to avoid is your chest falling down with you, okay? Your chest should stay upright. Now, some of this is going to be also dependent on how tall you are. Obviously, someone who has shorter femurs like me can easily come down and I don't have to lean forward very much. But somebody with longer femurs and a longer way to go, you might notice them shifting forward a little bit as they come down. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to go over a couple of things that I just see that aren't like best practices. So we'll go through those really quick. What's up, guys? And we're going to go through a barbell back squat tutorial, okay? First is your squat rack. I'm using the barbell because honestly, everyone should get good at doing a barbell. Yes, there are 1,000 other ways to do squats, but nothing is going to build strength quite like a barbell because you're able to load the weight so much heavier than you were dumbbells or kettlebells or anything else, okay? And you're so much better than you think you are. So, safeties. Obviously, you're going to want to use So your safeties. So whenever you come up to the squat rack, you're going to want to make sure that the lower safeties are on. These can move up and down, just depending on where your range of motion is. And then these need to be in place, so that way you should be able to just to the bar, take it off the rack, and walk back with it. Now, that doesn't seem that important, but it is very, very important, especially as you start to practice all the different ranges of motion. And if you don't feel comfortable yet with the barbell, just straight on your back like that, put a box behind you, so that way you can practice sitting, a box that at least hits parallel, but you can practice sitting to the box and then pushing yourself back up. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And if there are any other exercises that you are struggling with, let me know. Bye.